Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of The Grave, the podcast where I talk to friends, family, and even strangers about their paranormal experiences. Before I get into this week's guest, a little light housekeeping. Given that this week is Thanksgiving, there will be no episode this coming Monday, December 1st, and it's also likely we take off the Mondays following Christmas and maybe even New Year's, depending on how things shake out scheduling-wise. But I will, of course, keep you updated on those dates as we get closer to them. With that said, today's guest is a friend I made on social media. His name is Anky, and he's actually a film producer. He has a new horror flick coming out soon on Tubi called Cain. That's spelled C-A-I-N. And this one centers around a family attempting to survive a global crisis, so they hunker down in their Tokyo home. But dark secrets from their past begin to create cracks in their safe haven and send this family into a terrifying psychological nightmare. Cain just had its premiere in New York and will be available on Tubi in the coming months, so do keep an eye out for that, and I will also be updating folks as to when the actual release date will be. Apart from that, Anky also has some pretty creepy tales about an experience he had in his Brooklyn apartment, and he also talks about growing up in Haiti and a couple experiences and cultural insights he was exposed to during his time there as a kid. So, without further ado, I present to you Anky Stories. First of all, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh man, your content is you put me on to some amazing horror films.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
try.
so I'm a big horror fanatic. So anytime I find a channel that has good horror, because there's a lot of bad horror out there,
Certainly is, yeah.
but have good horror that you can actually watch and not be like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like when you did your video, the lost found footage. I
Yeah.
think those three films look amazing. I can't wait. I pre-ordered one of them on Apple TV, and I'm looking for the other ones to come on.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, those are, they look really
I
good.
got the list. I have the
Yeah,
list.
yeah, we've all got the list. You got to have the list.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you miss it, you know?
yeah, nah, but I love your channel. I love your content.
I appreciate that, man. Really do. It means a lot, actually, because we're, small time creators. We're coming up, but it's good to have the support. So I do appreciate that. Um, a lot of times, they're, for the most part, when I interview people, it's people who, I know on somewhat of a personal level. Obviously, I know you through social media, but I don't obviously know who you are. So before, and this is obviously not a job interview, but before we get into it, I noticed on your social media you seem to be in some sort of entertainment facet. I don't know if that's just a hobby or that's your career, but I kind of wanted to know what brought you to New York and kind of what you're doing there.
Well, originally I was born in Haiti. The voodoo capital.
Of course.
The serpent in the rainbow. So originally I was born there. I came to New York with my mom and dad when they migrated over here. We came legally. We went through the whole process, and then but I came on a medical passport because I had open heart surgery.
Oh,
So
wow.
I was younger.
Okay.
So when I first got to this country, I didn't understand the language because I speak Creole. So 90% of of how I learned how to speak English was through watching television,
Okay.
watching
Wow.
TVs and movies. And the first film that I remembered was The Goonies, because the school trip took me to that. That shows you how old I am.
It's a great film. That's a that's a good film, man.
Right. And then after that, I grew up, I went to school, I took care of my health and stuff like that, because that was the main reason why I was in the US. And then I fell in love with filmmaking, and I went to school for it. I was writing music videos when Bad Boy Records was big, and I was
Awesome.
writing music videos. I went from music, then I went to film school, and now I'm a full-fledged writer, director, and producer.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, that was kind of like my
Sounds
dream.
awesome.
Yeah,
Sounds
no,
awesome.
I actually went to, I started off as, at a, doing like government stuff. I was like, I'm going to be like an FBI agent. So I went to school for that. And I was like, I don't really want to be an FBI agent. I want to be kind of like James Bond. but I don't want to do all the hard stuff to get there. So I was like, I'll just be an actor. So I actually went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts for a year, did an acting classes.
Okay.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of this. Like, I prefer to be like behind the camera, writing, doing that type of stuff.
Right.
So then I just went to school for English to finish out my degree. But I love I'm right there with you. I love producing, directing. I've done a short film of my own.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
but yeah, I mean, went nowhere. But
Is it horror? Is it horror? Where can I watch it? You
yeah,
know?
it's actually on it's on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
It's of the same name, horribly opinionated. But yeah, it's like it's only like I don't know 6 minutes long. But me and a buddy shot it. I don't know, Jesus, probably like 8 9 years ago. It was our first foray into like directing and actually like making something come to life. So it was a good experience in that regard. It's not. I mean, it's okay. It's all right. But take a look, man. Take a look
No,
if you want.
I will definitely take a look. So the thing about horror, right? I love horror movies. I love horror movies. Like I watch horror movies like since they have Tubi, I watch horror movies like all day now.
Oh yeah, Tubi's great.
Yeah, Tubi's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And they're my distributors, so shout out to them.
Oh, there you go.
But the thing about horror is like I can never see myself directing a horror.
Mm.
I could produce it because I just came back from Japan and produced a horror movie in Japan.
Oh, awesome.
So sounds awesome, right? I can see myself producing a lot of horror movies, but me actually directing one, I don't.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. I don't know how, but don't get me wrong. I love the battle between good and evil. I love I love all that stuff. Especially religious horror movies. That's like my
Oh,
go-to.
cool. Awesome. It's like, like Exorcist and,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. All right. Nice.
That's my favorite.
So I guess I have two questions before we get to your story.
Sure.
The first, while we're on the subject of film, I didn't realize you were such a big, I mean, I knew you liked movies, but not to this degree. I guess so far this year would have been like, a couple, three of your favorites.
Right now, my number one film that I'm really pushing is not even a horror film. It's called Hamlet. I got a chance to see it early screening of it, and it was amazing.
Oh,
And I think that's going to win Best Picture this year.
oh, really? So it's not horror?
No, it's
Okay.
not horror. For horror, I would say The Black Phone.
So I just watched the
Yeah,
second.
I saw your video on it
Yeah,
too.
I was not the biggest fan.
If you saw, maybe because I know a lot more about it, and I'm a big fan of Stephen King, right?
Yep.
And his son wrote it.
Yep.
So that's already like a bonus for me.
Starts it off on a high note. Yeah.
It starts off on a high note and stuff like that. And when I was younger, I made an attempt to do a horror film. So Stephen King had this thing called a dollar baby back in the days, where you can license one of his short stories for $1.
Oh.
Yeah, so I licensed The Man That Shook No Hands, and I shot it, and I didn't like the way it came out, so I just left it alone. But I'm one of Stephen King's dollar babies.
That's awesome, though. I didn't. That's an awesome thing to do. I mean, I'm sure he's got enough stories where like that makes sense. But
Yeah, he has a ton of those, so he was just offering all film students his IP for. You can go make it, you can promote it, you just can't make money over it. But you had to pay $1 for the copyrights.
that's pretty cool, though. That's a nice little. I mean, it's definitely a way to kind of get an idea flowing, at least.
Yeah.
King stories never a bad, never bad.
Never bad to start off with a Stephen King story. So
Yeah.
that's my only and last attempt of ever trying to make a horror movie.
Fair. Oh, really? Okay. So you don't produce horror then? It's just mostly outside.
No, I produce horror, but directing and writing wise, I'm more of a drama love person.
Oh, okay.
Like
All right.
my first mainstream project is about reincarnation and love.
Oh, love that. That's awesome. That's cool.
Sounds awesome.
You rebuff me every time with like it sounds awesome. It does sound awesome. So yeah, we'll let the myth stay up there. It's definitely really cool. That's awesome. And again, I think I saw some guy, Slasher Talk is his name. He's kind of a bigger creator, and he was like, if you love the first Black Phone, you're not gonna love the second one, and vice versa. I think that's probably true. I mean, unless I don't know if you like the first one, but
Well, I'm biased because I know the director, and like I
oh,
know I
Scott.
yes, yes. I worked with him on Deliver Us from Evil.
Oh, that's true. That's actually a really good film. I think it's an underrated flick that
It's
no one really
super,
talks about. Yeah,
super.
yeah. Eric Bana is great in that. Yeah, it's just like that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to discredit Scott or Robert or anyone who worked on that film. I love Ethan Hawke. Like I think it was well done in many ways, but it just I think story wise, it didn't stand up to the first one. I think it's what I was expecting.
oh no, the first one was like was amazing. The first
So
one was
good.
like when I went to see it, I was like, oh, this is good. This is really good. Like
Yep. Yeah.
especially when it comes to kids, like horror and kids are like really creepy.
Yeah, and it was pretty tough too. Like I mean, the grabber is like I mean, pretty
Yeah,
sadistic guy. It's like hurting kids is not something you can really like make light of. So like, to do it
right.
tastefully was very impressive.
Very, very impressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I'm biased, so I'm always rooting for my friends, and they can't do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You know them. That's really cool. That's very jealous. But
When I worked with them, I was just a PA.
oh,
So,
okay. Well, I'm waiting
but
for you to say, but it's not that cool.
so I was just a PA, and then eventually I ran into him a couple more other times, and it became cool and stuff like that. So, I
That's
wouldn't say he's like my best friend.
no, but I mean, acquaintances is still more than I got. That's very cool. Um, awesome. So yeah, I feel differently about the black phone, but I respect everyone's opinion on it. I know I might even be in the minority on it. But moving off film a little bit to move back to the paranormal before we jump into your story. I'm dying to hear it, honestly. But as far as the paranormal normal goes, like what are your views on it right now? Are you a believer, agnostic? I mean, I think obviously your story may prove to us what you believe in, but kind of just your general perception of it right now.
I was born in a small village in Haiti,
Mm.
so uh, running around and seeing weird things in the night in the dark is normal to me, and I'm always terrified. So I do believe in the life after death. I believe in the spiritual. Call me crazy, I believe in werewolves, vampires. You know,
It could all be real, man. We don't know.
yeah,
I'm here. I'm here for that. That's I like the take of like who the hell knows.
yeah, right,
Um,
exactly. You know,
yeah.
so nothing
So
is perfect. Nothing is perfect, and I'm like, there's for one thing I know is that in every story there's always a seed of truth.
mm,
There's
mm,
always a seed of truth in the story.
yeah.
From Frankenstein to Bram Stoker's Dracula. There's got to be a seed. Someone had to know something that had something to know something.
Yeah, and I think to that point too, I was just talking about this with this guy Taylor on the last episode. Like like I find that there is, to your point, I think it's more like an exaggerated truth. So what we see in some of these films are just like puffed up versions of reality that we have, and also to that point, like these stories, whether it's vampires, werewolves, ghosts, demons, whatever it is, the sightings or stories of them, they pass through cultures and generations, and they're throughout history. So it's to me, it's almost implausible that there isn't, to your point, some kernel of truth or realism to them, because it's not like if it's something wasn't somewhat true, like the story would probably just die out in my mind.
Exactly, and not everyone can't be telling a lie.
Yeah.
Like everyone has like a version of it. Every culture, every religion has a version of a Bigfoot or a Wendigo. Like everyone has a
Mhm.
version.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's like, okay, something's going on. And the
Yeah.
world is divided. So clearly, it ain't like we all got together and made up one story and said, you go left, you go right,
Exactly. Yeah. Spread the word. Yeah.
right? Right, spread the word. Like, let's play telephone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, we're on the same page there, man. I completely agree with you that there's something more there for sure. So let's segue into your story, if you don't mind, just giving maybe just a little background before you jump in, and then obviously let it rip.
Okay. Well, it was when I was young, when I first came to this country. So it was the night where they took me to the planetarium. I remember this. This stuck with me until then. So I just came back from the planetarium, and my mom just had my other brother. He was about 2, 3 months old. So it's nighttime. So I used to live in Brooklyn. Well, I mean, I live in Brooklyn, but I used to live on Crown Street on Pacific by Pacific and No Street. Okay. So the house was very interesting. So when you first walk in through the door, it's the kitchen is on your right, and then it's a straight shot. It's the living room, and there's the bathroom, and then there's the back room, which is like the main, which is my mom's room. So one bedroom. So my bed was at the corner by the window in the living room. Where it needs to. We don't have the fancy house. Yeah. So I'm here talking to my mom. My mom is putting my little brother to sleep, and I am petrified of the dark. That's one thing about me. Yeah, I don't care who's with me. There has to be a light. I sleep with a night light. It doesn't matter. I'm petrified of the dark.
Listen, I got a nightlight too. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm from Haiti, so I know there's things that go bumping in the night. So I know that for a fact. So I'm petrified, right? So I'm talking to my mom, and I'm excited. And, I was like, oh man, they told me about the Big Dipper and this, that, and I'm excited. So my mom's just listening to me. So time flew, and it was time for me to go to bed. So now all the lights were shut off, and my mom was like, hey, I'm putting your brother to sleep. I think we need to go. I'm like, all right, cool. So normally she would wait for me to get to my bed before she closes the door. Because when she closes her door, I'm in a complete darkness. And she knows I'm scared. So I don't know what happened that night, but I said, okay, she gives me good night. And so I started walking out. As soon as I stepped out of the room, she closed the door, right? So I'm like, okay, my heart starts beating. I'm petrified, right?
Here we go.
So I'm walking really, really close. So I'm about to dip to the thing. So I look straight towards the door, and we live on the 9th floor of the building. So there's no way that a burglar or anybody can actually climb and get through the window. So that was completely terrifying. So I'm walking, as soon as I'm heading towards my bed, there's a silhouette of a man, completely in black. I can't see through him, but you can see the silhouette. He walks out of the kitchen and he stands there. So me and him are locked in. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, no one's supposed to be here. He can't be a burglar. We're on the 9th floor. And my entire body is frozen. So the one thing I know about fear is that when you are scared to death, you can't move. I used to always criticize movies like, oh man, I see something, I'm running. That was not the case. Interesting. So I'm staring at him, he's staring at me, and like, I don't know how long it was. And all he did was he looked at me, he shook his head, and then he walked right back into the kitchen. Right? So as soon as he left, I ran and went under my bed. I slept there for the entire night. My mom had to wake up. My mom woke me up and was like, why are you sleeping in the bed? I told her about my story. She's like, oh, you ate too much, probably were drinking.
Too much sugar.
Right, she had too much sugar. But I was 100% awake. I never forgot that. He walked out of the kitchen. And I'm trying to see who he is. Like, I'm trying to see, maybe he's someone. I would have been more happy if he was a burglar, to be honest with you. Because at least I knew he was a person.
Right.
I'm looking at this silhouette and he's shaking. So to me, I'm thinking that he's going to come back. Right? So I don't know when he's going to come back, but I never got the feeling where it was more like it was over. It was more like, I see you and I'll be back.
Wow.
That's what I got from him.
Did he come back ever?
Nah,
Not yet.
I sleep with the lights on, so hopefully, he never does come back. And if he does, then you'll read about a director that disappeared.
And I'll know exactly what happened.
Exactly, you'll know what happens.
All right, so that's terrifying.
That's my horror story. My friends used to be like, oh, yeah, that is the number one thing that ever happened to me. And that's what made me really 100% believe. Because there's no way that anyone could have climbed up. We had those those windows, because we were young, the building had to have these rails because of the kids, so that we wouldn't be able to. So there's no way that anybody could have climbed up that building and snuck into the building.
Now,
I looked at him completely. He was from black from head to toe.
Okay, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
The first, the obvious one, was your front door locked?
Yes. Well, I remember my dad is the one that always locks the door. He does that until this day. and it used to be a metal rod. They used to put a metal rod there, and
Okay.
so that if anyone breaks the rod was like the pull, because we lived on Pacific Street. It wasn't really a nice neighborhood, so the locks and everything was complete 100%.
Got it. Okay. So that answers that question. As far as the like, so would you say like were there facial features or was it just like this kind of black mass
It was just a black man.
humanoid?
It's a man's outfit. You could see like I could tell he was a man. I
Mm.
could tell he knew me, but I couldn't. I'm trying to see like did he have a jacket on? Like, I'm trying to like I'm frozen in like when you're petrified, your heart is beating. I'm sweating and I'm staring at this guy and I'm thinking I should run, but there's nothing there. Like my body's not listening to anything my mind is saying. So I'm
Yeah.
looking at this guy and I'm trying to like see who is he. Maybe he's like even me yelling mom, mom, mom. Like I couldn't even do that. So I was trying to see like does he have a t-shirt on or does he have a jacket on or does he have a hoodie? Is he like a but just an
Nothing.
outline, like a real physical outline.
Yeah. So like yeah, it was like a natural presence. So
Yeah.
in that regard, was he when he so when you watched him walk back into the kitchen, did he disappear out of your sight, or did you like when you ran away? Is that when like were you when you went under your bed? Could you still see him, or did he disappear into the kitchen? Like that was the last you saw of him?
Now once he walked into the kitchen, I took flight. I was not doing no investigating. I just
Yeah, no Scooby doing it. You were just
I went I was petrified, so I went under the bed. So as soon as I ran, I went in under the bed because I didn't want him to come back around. And so I was like, Lord, I'm going to die. I'm gonna die on. But
and
once he walked into the kitchen, once he nodded his head at me, he went like this, and then he walked into the kitchen. That was the only time I was able to do something. So I was right under my bed.
I mean the flight or fight or flight kicks in. Yeah, it's I think
Oh
that was the
my
move.
God.
But while you were under the bed, there was no like you didn't hear any like footsteps or noises or anything after that. He was just out of sight,
He
and
was out of sight.
the last you saw of him.
Yep, that was the last thing I saw.
Wow. Okay, and it's it's crazy too. It's interesting you say like you were like I was too scared to do anything. I had an experience once in my bedroom, and like the only thing I could think to do was hide under my covers, and I was just like I don't know why because I was like that's not going to help me, and I stayed there for like probably 5-10 minutes. I was like I'm not even going to look at what's happening out there.
I
Um,
I know
and,
the feeling. I
and
stayed
this
under the bed. My mom woke me up. I was like, "What are you doing under the bed?" I was like, "There's somebody in the apartment. There's somebody in the apartment." She's like, "There's nobody in the apartment. The door's locked." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, the door's locked." She's like, "Nobody's here. You ate too much. Get up. Get up."
something was there.
Yeah, I'm from where I'm from. Going to the bathroom is like a nightmare. It's the bathroom is not in the house.
Mm,
It's normally outside the house, and you have to have something with you to go there. It's just one of those. Like when I was younger and I grew up out there, it's one of those where you see things in the middle of the night. It wasn't the best time. So
yeah.
yeah.
No, that sounds terrifying. Was there did your mom or dad ever have any experience anything or
But my mom told me this one story about her. She was like, there's this thing called in my culture called the luau, right?
mm.
They're basically, I guess, a modern day a witch. But what happened is that they were trying to eat her when she was younger.
What?
Yeah, so
Eat her?
yeah, they were trying to eat her.
Oh
So
my.
the whole concept is that this thing called the luga comes, and she's like, they come in the middle of the night, and normally if when they're on top of the roof of your house, it looks like it's on fire, but it's not on fire. It looks like fire, and what they can do is that they can eat you from inside. During the daytime, someone will come, knock on your door, and ask you to borrow salt. They'll be like, "Hey, can I borrow some salt?" You're not supposed to, because if you do, that's like giving them permission to come back in the night.
Okay. All right.
So I guess something happened, and then but where I'm from, my grandfather, he was a spiritual man. He was one of those. My grandfather was a shaman in Haiti. So
Okay.
he was like he did what he had to do to save my mom and stuff like that. And my mom always tells us about that. You know,
Wow.
yeah. So
That's what I was my next question and the last question was going to be like when you were a kid growing up in Haiti, like was there, I know you said walking out of the bathroom was scary in itself. Was there ever like, a moment in your childhood where you're like that's something I can't explain or
I got a wild one. I got a wild one.
Let's go, man. That's why we're here.
So I'm like I said, I'm from a small town, right? And I said my grandfather's like a shaman out there. So when I was like, I remember it was like the night before we got our visas to come to America, right? So normally when it's like my mom went back to my little small town that I grew up in, my grandmother, it's a really small town. So like the two largest families, my mom's family and then it's my dad's family. So like that's the two biggest families and stuff like that. And then it's like everyone else, like cousins. So really, really small niche town. Yeah. So there was this, so anything that goes wrong, the first person they would call is my grandfather, right? Spiritually. And anything that went bad, police-wise, they would call my dad's parents, right? So mom's dad.
You got the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Well, I guess you can say that. So one time, and so I think it was like 3 days before we had to go back to Port-au-Prince to go to the thing. So my mom was like, "Go spend time with everybody. Go say bye to everybody. Spend time with them because you're probably never gonna see them." I said, "Oh, no, I'm a kid." I'm like, "All right, cool." So first stop is my grandfather. He's always the one that everybody respects. So we have to respect, right? So he does his thing. He talks to me. He does his little. He does a bunch of things, right? He does a bunch of things to make sure that you're good when you come to this country, right?
Yeah.
So I'm there, and I'm a kid. I'm playing around and stuff like that, and then so somebody comes knocks at his door in the middle of the night, right? And it's like, "Oh, we have an emergency. There's a guy, and he basically, he's hurting himself. Like he's running into the wall. He's like jumping off the trees. Like he's doing anything that can physically hurt himself. So they had to tie him up, right? They had to tie him up and like put him in a chair. And they're like, called my grandfather. He was like, "Listen, we need to come talk to him and help stop him from trying to kill himself." Okay, so my grandfather, you like, "I'm that's cool." So so there was this young kid in my town, right? He was around the same age, but he died in an accident, right? Oh. His name is DiCaprio. So he died in an accident like a long time ago, but I knew him. Like we knew each other. We like played soccer together and all that stuff. But he died a long time before, I got sick and I had to leave. So my grandfather was like, "Come with me." I was like, "All right, cool." So we went, we walked, whatever, got there. So the guy is sitting there, he's like bruised up, and I'm like, "Oh my God, Grandpa, they beating him up." And he was like, "Nah, I got this." So I'm standing there, my grandfather's standing there. The guy's telling me the story, and the guy looks at me and he calls my name. I was like, I don't know you. Like, you're an adult. There's no reason why you should know who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then he was like, "It's me, DiCaprio." And I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "Grandpa," I was like, "Grandpa, he's tripping right now," right? And then my grandfather was like, "Let me explain it." I was like, "All right, cool." He's like, "Just don't talk to him." I was like, "Okay, cool." So my grandfather was like, "Sometimes when people owe other people money, you can go in the cemetery and contract someone to get that money back from you." Huh. I was like, "What does that mean?" So he was like, "Sometimes you can hire someone to throw a dead body on someone, a dead spirit, and until they pay that money, the spirit won't leave." So my grandfather had to go find the person that the man owed the money to, pay the debt so that DiCaprio could leave the body.
So like he was kind of possessed by your dead friend?
Yeah.
In a way? That's crazy.
Yeah. Now you see why I like horror. So, yeah, I mean, there's so many like line experiences that I've had.
Was it something like, were you able, I'm assuming like you didn't have any further conversation with that guy?
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to speak. Once my grandfather knew that whatever was on him knew me, he kind of made sure that I didn't.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh shit, get away."
Yeah, basically. That was it. But wow. Yeah, that's, like that, because of my grandfather, because of who he was in Haiti. So I've had a lot of those interesting experiences, and I've seen a lot of family members have very interesting experiences. I even have some crazy video footage.
Go on.
or another time, another place. But it's just that's why I would never. I feel like if I would ever direct or write about a horror film, it would be like opening a door that my grandfather. He was always his thing was to me his last thing he told me was like just make sure you stay strong in the Lord.
Mm.
That was like my mom and dad they kind of sheltered me, even though they sheltered me from that whole entire world, that whole entire life.
Yeah, probably for the best, I think, in the end.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you start dabbling and, I mean, but that's also interesting. Your grandfather was a religious man?
He was he sure he was I always every time I ever spoke to my grandfather and I asked him, is God real, right? Because I used to see stuff, like I used to see things he would do and all this other stuff, and I'd be like, Grandpa, is God real? Like that. And he was like, God controls everything. So he was like, don't ever think that we're stepping outside of his boundaries. He allowed this.
Okay. That's the mindset. Okay.
Yeah, that's his mindset. So he was more like, everything that we do is allowed, Just doesn't mean you're not going to get punished.
Yeah.
But
you can do it.
But you can do it.
It's all permissible. Okay.
Yes, exactly. You can cheat on your taxes, but that don't mean that
right. It's not wrong.
Come after you.
Yeah. All right. That's a very interesting take, I think. No, that's wild. Those are I can't believe that was your friend. That's cool, man. That's really cool. And that is going to do it for Anky's time here on the grave. Any creepy shadow figure in your house is always terrifying. And the fact that he felt like whatever that entity was isn't done with him yet is pretty damn haunting. But also getting to hear the experiences he had in Haiti I found to be very interesting, as admittedly I am not well versed in Haitian culture, but I think is a very interesting subject on its own. So thanks to Anky for coming on and taking the time, and again, keep an eye out for his film called Cain that will be coming out on Tubi soon. As I said at the top of the show, there will be no new episode next Monday, but we will pick back up with at least a couple new ones before Christmas is upon us. As always, guys, thanks for listening, and I hope to have you all back for some more scary stories.